right? So we're going to
We
go over the
we have
poem
to
as a
annotate. We have to annotate it. As
let's
long as we
go
annotate.
over let's go over the general idea first about the poem, about the summary, about the context, and then we'll go over the annotations, okay?
What are we starting with?
Mm, Class game?
Sorry?
The class game, the poem?
Okay, okay. So Miss printed for us this very nice booklet, which is basically the poetry anthology, and on the right hand side is it's like a really nice I'll show you it. I'm sending you a picture, okay? On
Okay, I'll check it out on my laptop. Oh, this is pretty. Okay, we'll go over it line by line as well. Okay, let's just discuss this first. Okay, the poem. All right? Yeah,
uh,
cool. Okay, have you read it? Have you gone over it? Do you have any idea what it is about?
no. Maybe you could say that from the class game, you could say that it's talking about what different classes of
Mm-hmm.
the society at the time, especially the Victorian era,
Mm-hmm.
where they were like the lower class, upper class, middle class, the aristocracy.
Absolutely, yes. So the class game is it's actually a response. It's like a reply, where the poet, she is highlighting the differences she's observed between herself and the members of working class. So there is a comparison of the social class, and then a, and then there's a comparison of those people who identify themselves as the middle or the upper class. Okay, so
Yeah.
the central idea over here is this. So the poem, it centralizes around these differences, and it's just the poet, she is stating that she is proud of who she is, regardless of her social class. Okay.
Yeah. Casey, right?
Yes. Okay. Now,
Okay.
if you look at the very first line of it, because if you look
You
at
want to
in
read
terms
it
of
first? Like read the whole thing and then we can annotate it? But I've never
um
read it.
no, I'm gonna do it. Just wait a minute, okay?
Oh,
But
okay.
if, I'm going to do let me see if I can take a screenshot of this. Wait, I'm gonna copy this text and I'm gonna send it to you on chat and see. Nope, it's not copying. Never mind. Um, anyways, okay. So it starts with an opening line, okay? Which is a question, right? So we know that in terms of the synopsis, if you analyze it that way, it starts with a question where she's asking, how can you tell what class I'm from? Okay. Um, the poem opens with the speaker who's questioning the reader. You could say it's a rhetorical question where she is asking the audience, the reader, to assume her class, right? Abbas, if you can just take a screenshot of the poem and then send it to me, I'll just add it to the document.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? But listen to me at the same time, multitask, right? So,
Yeah.
so we see her opening with this particular text, okay? And in the very first line, when she opens with a rhetorical question, um, how can you tell what class I'm from? The word class is immediately introducing the theme of class as the main topic of the poem by asking this rhetorical question where the poet is actually challenging the stereotypes, because now it helps us assume
Therefore, the
that,
conflict, therefore it being the conflict and power
yes, yes,
mythology.
yeah, okay. So there's that. One sec, why is it not letting me insert what? Sorry, I don't know why it's not letting me insert the image. No idea. Okay, I think that's why. Okay, yeah. So it's we can see that it's instantly opening to, is this what you sent? Did you send an image of what? You didn't take a screenshot? Abbas, you couldn't take a screenshot? You just sent me a picture of the poem? Really? Please give me
Screenshot
a second,
what?
I'll take a, you sent me a photo. I want a screenshot of the poem. Please give me a second, I'm gonna do it myself. Just
Oh,
one.
from the anthology?
Yeah. How am I gonna
I
annotate
don't.
your photo?
Sorry, I have to find the anthology once. I can't find.
1 second, I'm just the class game. There we go. It's just that it's just not
Yeah, let me send it to you. I already have it.
great.
What happened?
Are you sending it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sending it to you.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Did you get it?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh my God. Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Chat. Okay, done.
Yep. There we are. Thank God. What? This
What?
is jokes. I don't know why. What's going on?
Why did you just take a picture then?
Just 1 second. I have to pause this. Okay, let's go back to it. So, as I was saying, the first line. So, the first line starts with a rhetorical question. When we see the word, the theme is already introduced in the text where it says class. How can um how can you guess what class I am? How can you tell what class I am from? So, it's already giving us an opening of with a rhetorical question. It introduces the theme. Okay, so there's a theme introduced. It's in terms of figurative speech, it's a rhetorical question.
Hmm?
Um, so and then it cyclically relates to the final line eventually when you relate back to it. And I'm proud of the class that I come from. How? Because when she starts this, how can you tell what class I'm from? It is immediately introducing the theme of class. We know it's an opening question. This is the writer who is
Okay.
challenging the stereotypes of the society, okay? Um, and the expectations. Because knowing that in a society there is the word class exists, that means the stereotypes exist, the expectations exist. And when we say that there is a class, that means the ones at the top are always the best ones, right?
Yeah.
So there is a hierarchy of that, okay? So it starts, and then she starts to compare her life and upbringing, as you can see later on. You can see where she says, "So I can talk posh like some, with an with an ollie in me mouth." Um, when she speaks this is her using an old English method. This was a language spoken by people in the UK, in Britain, or in Europe, the ones who were from the lowest social class. Okay, when they used to say "in me mouth" and "me nose," these are the people from the lowest strata, and she suddenly started talking like them, right? So she says that she can talk posh, and then she is switching, and there's a juxtaposition where she's doing a comparison of her speaking partially and her speaking from the street social class people, right? This is where she says, "Down me nose wear an at not a scarf." We expect the rich people to wear those scarves, right? We Have you
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah. I
Queen
know what you
Elizabeth?
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She's packed
so
full of
why do
scar.
Yeah, so why do you always wince when you hear me say Tara to me, ma, instead of bye, mummy dear? This, if you can see over here, I want you to specifically focus on this line. She's trying to, so this is implying the differences in in the social class. This is juxtaposition. This is the writer um, implying the differences in the spoken language. This is the writer saying that, so me say Tara to me, ma, instead of bye, mummy dear. Why instead of bye, mummy dear? Instead of saying that, I use ma instead, or Tara instead. So this is the writer implying that why is just the use of different words or different vocabulary really identifying my social class? Is this how small or the thin the line between the social classes is? Just the dictionary, just the vocabulary between the social classes. So she says she feels distant from the rest of the society in terms of just the spoken language. Is this what the difference is? Just the language? So does it really, why do we wince when we hear ma instead of bye, mummy dear, right? Um, I've when I watched The Crown, they were the children and of Queen Elizabeth, they used to call her mummy. Yeah. So you could assume that, um, in the upper class, you are expected to say complete words, mummy. And in the lower social class, they pick on simpler words, the ones that have, chopped off, eaten off. Okay? Yes, no?
Yeah.
And then again, there is the same rhetorical question. How can you tell what class I'm from? Again, it challenges the reader. One, it's making the reader think again, and it's challenging the reader. It's like making the reader think that, I mean, is if this is such a if the class difference is just so tiny, then perhaps you should stop playing the social class differences game and stop judging people based on the way they speak or the way they dress, right? So
Yeah.
first she talks about the differences in the how we have implied those differences through the words, the spoken language, or perhaps by the way they dress or how we appear. And then she asks the
Yeah.
same rhetorical question again. So, this rhetorical question, the purpose of this rhetorical question was to make the reader think, perhaps wonder. But this rhetorical question is to create guilt, perhaps a moment of realization that really, are we really creating social class differences based on the way people dress or based on the way people talk, right? So the purpose of the rhetorical question changes in both scenarios. So how can you tell what class I'm from? It's implying the it implies the differences. It is challenging the reader.
Yeah.
Uh, just jotting it down so you have it for later. And stop being judgmental. Okay. And based on the way they dress and based on the way they speak. All right. Okay. Moving forward. Okay. Because we live in a corpy, not like some. This word, because we live in a corpy, is a Welsh word. Give me a moment. Is it? It means council house. Because we live in the corpy, not like some. Um, the people who live in a council house are the ones that are funded and supported by the government. The word corpy means a council house. Okay, and it's a slang word. The purpose of using this slang, um, this Liverpool slang, is to make it's the writer trying to achieve the purpose to prove that she can speak in various different styles, and it still does not define what social class she's from. So she can speak posh, and she can also speak slang. That's one purpose of her using this particular slang. And two, she's saying over here that we live in a council house, and then she says, in a pretty little semi-out viral way. This viral is a viral, if I got it correct, is an outskirt area, a suburb of Liverpool. Okay. And it's usually the outskirt areas are the ones where lower class people live, right? The richer ones live in the central city. So, um, but this specific location, Viral, this outskirt area is a location where people, it's a famous place in Liverpool where the rich people go out and live a peaceful life away from the noisy, loud city, and who prefer to live in peace. So this area is a posh area. It's for the wealthy people. Okay. So so this is
But she's talking
again
about the world.
yeah. Yes, I'm
But the
talking about the
world,
world.
but you said it's just an outside area for the lower class, right? And why
No,
would it
no,
be a
no,
posh?
no, 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 it's not. No. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to imply over here that, so listen to this. These two lines are, you could say they're connected, okay? We live in a
Okay.
corpy, not
It's
like some.
enjambment, right? Oh wait, no, sorry.
Exactly, it's enjambment. It's a continuation of a particular line because we live in the corpy, not like some in a pretty little semi-out viral way. This outskirt
Rural, yeah.
area, now outskirt areas are usually the ones where, the poorer people live, but this specific place, Viral, is a famous location where these people from Liverpool, they it has a specific reputation where people, the upper class, the wealthy people, it's a posh area. It's the wealthy people
So
where
they
they
can be
go out
peace.
in
So
that
they have peace. Oh, okay.
exactly for relaxing because they don't prefer to live in loud central areas, right? with
Yeah.
a lot of population. They want to live in outskirts where there's peace, where there's silence. So this specific area is known for its reputation for its wealth and how it's posh, right? So yes, enjambment. I'll just label that here. Enjambment. Because we live in a coopy, not like some in a pretty little semi-overall way. So we live in a council house. We don't live in this fancy posh place. And commuting to Liverpool by train each day. Again, it's implying and it's actually letting the reader know that we are using now she's questioning. You see the question mark here? She says over here, oh, so you're saying that we're poor because we live in a council house and not in a fancy posh place, and the fact that we commute in train every day. So this is the writer is doing a comparison. Okay, she's comparing and she's questioning. She is challenging the audience that okay, so just because I travel in a train and I don't live in in Virral in a posh area, and because I live in a council house defines me as a poor person, defines me as a lower class person. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, right. So, and then this is then she hits a bit of sarcasm there where she says, "Or did I drop my unemployment card sitting on your patio?" All right. She's been very sarcastic that you know that I oh you just
Oh
found out or
my God.
what happened? Savage?
Oh,
Sounds like you.
yeah, yeah. Why would she say that? That's crazy. She's literally trying to take the make out of these guys, man.
So
Uh,
she seems quite
I'm
angry
sorry.
about
Did
it.
I
She's
drop
like,
my unemployment card sitting on your patio? My bad.
yeah, yeah. So so she's like, this is a very subtle way of her saying that mind your own business. A very subtle way of her saying that,
Literally,
yeah.
like on point. Like this is literally what she's trying to say. She's like, shush, like mind your own business.
Exactly. Just because I live in a council house, does that make me a lower class person? Like, oh, did I end up in your patio somehow? And because I was so desperate to go see how rich people's patio looks like. And oh, did you just find out that I'm unemployed? So she's just been like super sarcastic over here. She seems quite frustrated. How can you tell what class I'm
Yeah.
from? So she's like, oh, did you see my unemployment card? So is this your way of trying to find out what social class I'm from? Because you've just found out that I'm unemployed? Or are you saying that um, people from lower classes are unemployed because we don't have money, we don't have jobs, and that's why we're from lower class? Yeah. So she's like, how? And then she keeps there's repetition. How can you tell what class I'm from? Again, the rhetorical question over here has changed its purpose again. Initially, it was to make the reader think. Then it was to create guilt. Okay. And now it's much more sarcastic, right?
Yeah.
Have I a label on me head and another on me bum? Is it bum? Yeah. Right? Um, Here the poet is working to challenge the reader's stereotypes, right? And then she again has changed her tone. She's gone from me again, right? Because if you notice, when she said
Yeah. Yeah.
my unemployment card, she said my. But now she wants to go back and she starts using her informal English, the one
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is identified to be used by lower class. So
Yeah.
so how she's making the she's challenging the reader's sudden stereotypes of her social class, and she's highlighting how she is experienced being labeled because of the way she talks, right? Do I have a label on my head? Or do I have another label on my bum? Or is it because my hands are stained with toil? Instead of soft, oily white with perfume and oil. Juxtaposition, comparison of what hands of poor people look like and rich people look like. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So juxtaposition, rich versus poor hands. So poor people's hands are not manicured and they look
Not
like
like
they've worked
clean.
hard on. Don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's so mean, but okay. Don't I crook me little finger when I drink me tea? So
Oh,
she's
I
like
thought you were talking to
identifying these
me.
specific.
You're like, I thought you were like, don't crook me. I'm sorry. Okay, okay, go
But
on.
if you notice, the writer is identifying all of these features of these rich people. Oh, so the rich people, they crook their fingers when they drink tea, right? Say toilet instead of bog when I want to pee, right? There's rhyming, but
Oh
she's
my God. Who crooks their finger when they're drinking tea, bro? You know that little
um
finger, like they just hold it like that and they think they're so cool, like with the little finger just poking out like that. Oh my days.
I just
I
tried
agree
it with
with
my
her
cup
so
with
much.
my coffee. I mean,
You just tried it?
yeah, I just tried. I just tried to see if I actually do it. But my pinky finger is under the cup, so I don't know if it counts. I don't think that's me crooking. Am I poor? Does that mean I'm poor? So so she says, so she's actually over here. You can see that she's highlighting all the features of the upper class. This is what the upper class are expected to do. So the upper class have their own posh language. They have their own posh dictionary. They have their own posh vocabulary. They have the way they dress. They wear scarves. They have they apparently don't say. Do they use toilet? Do they use toilet? Say toilet instead of bog when I want to pee. So using that, or they crook their fingers when they're having tea. Why do you care what class I'm from? This is when the writer is had changed her tone. She went from how
She's
can you tell what class
crazy
I'm
mad.
from?
She's mad.
But she says, so from this she goes and says her rhetorical question is changed. I want you to notice that. How
Yeah.
can you tell what class I'm from? And she's gone from that to why do you care? Why does it matter what class I'm from? The poet is very she is pretty
She's amazing. Amazing. There's nothing. Like there are no words to describe how amazing of a poet she is.
well, if you notice, why do you care what class I'm from? Her anger, her
Anger.
frustration.
Oh wow. I can just imagine her say that in real life. Like I can just imagine her say, "Why do you care? Like why do you care what class I'm from?"
Exactly, that's her purpose. You're helping her achieve her purpose because
I
she
know.
is very obvious. She's making her anger and her frustration pretty prominent by constantly repeating the label due to her social class.
You can see that's
Despite
repetition every time saying like,
absolute,
what class I'm from,
yeah,
class I'm from, class I'm from, class I'm from.
repetition and her changing from how to why, right? The
Yeah.
I also want you to notice um how there is how she's where I want to where to why do you care? Oh yeah, okay, not right now. Okay. I want this is what I'm gonna look at later. So the exclamation mark seems a little angry over here. Um so Yeah, so she's got this aggressive tone right now, right? So does it stick in your gullet like a sour plum? So the way she says this, she's like, does my social class really have anything to do with you? Does it bother you so much? Does my social class, why are you acting like my social class is bothering you, right? Does it stick to your gullet like a sour plum? Is it really bothering you? Are you the one who's getting affected by my social class? Why are you getting involved in? Why are you judging my social class? It's not affecting you. It's not influencing you. It doesn't have anything to do with you, right? So she
Yeah,
says, "Well,
yeah.
mate, a cleaner is me mother, a talker is me brother, bread pudding is wet Nelly." I'm just gonna stop here. Well, mate. When she says, "Well, mate," the
Well,
exclamation
mate,
mark. So mate is a specific
like a
word that is
friend.
used by in the UK or in Britain you could say the fancy posh people don't say mate. Okay, it's a word used by it's a slang word, and it's used by deviant children in school, or the ones who want to look cool, the ones who are from a lower social class, or the ones who are, the ones who are usually in hoodies and tracksuit bottoms and jumping around in alleyways. So this
In
is
what?
a
In
very,
what? Say that again.
yeah, the ones who are wearing tracksuit bottoms and jumping around in alleyways who scared the hell out of you because you think you're gonna get robbed. I've diverted my direction a lot of times from alleyways when I would see somebody coming from far in a tracksuit bottom with a hoodie on their head. I would get scared. It's a stereotype,
It's just
and
kids, right? But it's actually just kids, or you
they're not
can't
just
tell.
kids. I mean, there are adults. They're adults as well, and they talk like because I can tell. I mean, you know how you people have sets in school, set one, set two. So
Yeah,
step one, set two kids. They speak regular English. I mean, everything she's talking about is like, it sounds like a lot of nostalgia from school. So the people in set six were usually the ones who would talk like this. Well, mate, what's up? What's up? Yeah, was good. They would talk like that. They would use these words. And that's why
yeah.
it's like she is literally speaking the British culture. And why what I meant by sets is that in these lower sets are the ones uh who end up who are either from broken families, or their parents are druggies, or they're from a lower social class. You can tell. And in set one and set two, you're gonna see 80% Indians. You're gonna see a lot of Desis there. You're gonna see a lot of Filipinos there, because they're really smart, you know. Meanwhile, in the lower set, you're gonna see the local British kids, usually the
Uh-huh.
ones that belong to these broken families. And because if you study sociology, you would know that then uh these differences create a social difference, and then these broken families create an impact on the child's mind. Then they deviate in the society, they start using these things, they start talking like this. And then the fact that in schools, the British curriculum, the British education system, it's based on these sets. They're the one who started it. That's when the other parts of the world started it after them. So the reason these are sets is because the way they're taught is different, and they end up not going to college. They end up doing vocational courses. And then when they do vocational courses, those are not proper education. Those are training certificates. Then they end up getting the lower class jobs. They become mechanics, they become plumbers, they become uh, and then they end up getting lower class jobs. And then the cycle repeats. And this is how it's connected. I'm trying to give you a lot of history in the background so you understand what the poem is about. Is it making
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'll jump straight to the last line, and I'm proud of the class that I come from. So the writer, again, she goes from How can you tell what class I'm from? Why do you care what class I'm from? And I'm proud of the class I come from. The poet concludes on a definite note stating that she doesn't care about the differences of the social class and that she has pride regardless of what class she comes from. All right? Yes, no?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay? Okay? So this is the central idea. Are we getting it?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going over it more. Wait. So proud of her class. She's given her statement. Now something. The title. The class game. Let's talk about the title.
The title itself gives a lot of,
Yes, like what?
like it gives you the theme itself. Everyone when you're talking about the class game, it's not
Mm-hmm.
it's more really games are usually for fun. So you could say she's it's almost a whole juxtaposition in that line because she's putting wait, no. What's that thing where you're putting like two things together? You're like comparing two things which are completely opposite.
Juxtaposition? Opposites?
It's
What?
just like let's say when you're saying like light and shadow in one line. What
Mm-hmm.
would you call that?
Light and
Starts with
shadow,
A.
juxtaposition, right?
It's just is it just
Well, you're comparing two things.
yeah, but like the complete opposites.
Yeah. Comparison of opposites.
Uh, two opposites. Um, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Antithesis? No, it's not that, right? Oxymoron. There we go.
Okay, okay, fine. Is that what you meant? Fine.
Like bittersweet or awfully good, you know?
Mm, okay. But
Could
I
you
feel like
say
why are you
it's not
deviating
really an
from the topic?
oxymoron? Sorry?
You're deviating from the topic. How is the class game an oxymoron?
Okay, not an oxymoron, but you are comparing two things.
Okay, fine. Okay, listen up. Because I have less time, I have to talk more. Listen.
Yeah.
So starting off, you see it's a syllabic title. Okay. Do we
Hmm?
know what that is? Oh my,
Yeah.
what is it?
All the words have one syllable.
Good. Okay. So it's and whenever a poem title has this, it it tells us in literature, it gives us a clear idea that the poem is going to be to the point.
Hmm.
Okay. It gives you a
Hmm.
clear idea that the meaning will be explicit, not implicit. It's going to be to the point. Okay. And
Hmm.
the fact that it says game suggests that people engaging in the game of judging each other and the social class inequality. Okay. So the fact that it's called game, what kind of game is it? It's a stereotyping,
Stereotypical.
judgmental game that we're talking about, right? And when we see the title itself, it kind of immediately sets that theme of the poem that, the class of the class of, the society that she lives in is a classist society.
Yeah.
And when you look, if we go forward and if we talk about the poem all in all, I want you to look at the perspective. What is the perspective? What is the form? What is the structure? Perspective. It's a first person perspective, right? She's talking about herself,
Yeah. Yeah.
her experience.
I, me, my.
Exactly. So we can see a lot of personal pronouns, okay? And the fact that she's using me, but you and your. I couldn't help but notice over here, right? She kept saying, you, how can you tell? How can you tell? And why do you care? It makes it a dramatic monologue. Do we know what that is?
Sorry, miss.
Do you know what a dramatic monologue is?
Yeah. No, sorry.
Okay. Um, so the fact that she is using you and your in it, it makes it a dramatic monologue. And she is so a dramatic monologue, you could say, is like when you're kind of giving a long speech, you know. Um, so she's giving kind of like a long speech of about social class, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's what she's doing, right?
It's
She's
like a really it's like a really long speech, right?
You could say yes. It's when you're addressing to a silent listener. That's, I
Oh,
think, a good way to define it, right? So she's like giving a long speech to a silent listener. She's attacking somebody, and then they can't really reply to you. You're making them think
exactly.
constantly, right?
Yeah.
So, and because that's what the format of the poem as well is, right? It's a monologue, right? The
Yeah.
poem, the format, the structure,
It's meant to be like that.
yes, it's a monologue, right? So the speaker can be seen, and she is making it very personal, and it's very emotive, and
Very
she,
personal.
yeah, she is oh, I can hear. I'm not screen sharing, right? It just closed itself. It's
You are.
weird. I just did it now, yeah. Right? So she's like, she's made it very personal. She's the center of the poem, if you see. So she's used her own experiences. She's talked about the way she dresses and the way she talks and the where she lives as well. And and maybe she's also subtly told us that she's unemployed, maybe. Um, Center of the poem is her personal experience. Okay. And of class and experience of class and being labeled and labeling. Okay. So it kind of encourages other people to reconsider how they are as well. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And if I look at the poetic way, I could see some rhyming couplets in a pretty little semi-out way.
You could say last lines
Yeah.
where it says well made.
And okay, look at this. I mean, I've annotated so much I can't. Okay, look at this. Way, day,
Yeah. Yeah.
hard, yard, from, bum, toil, oil. This is a rhyming couplet, right? This
Yeah.
specific section of the poem is focusing on the rhyming couplet, and I don't know where I'm gonna annotate this. Um,
Maybe you should be proud of yourself you annotated someone.
Rhyming. This is very ugly annotation. I've done better. Okay. So this is a rhyming, and then so this simple rhyming scheme is reflecting the simple way of life, you could say. She used a very simple rhyming scheme, right? Now, if
Yeah.
you try to um, read between the lines and try to really find a literary meaning, you could say that because, like I told you, the lower working class people, they don't use high level of vocabulary, and they have a very simple way of life. and that their English is very simple. It's very with less high vocabulary, simple English words. They don't have a high English vocabulary. That means they use simple words. So the fact that she half rhymed the poem, so there's only one specific part of the poem that is um, half rhymed. It kind of implies that she is representing a bit of simplicity in the poem, right?
Yeah, but could you say like the structure will be different because there's no really a stanza?
Yeah, well, it's a one in stanza poem. The poem
Yeah.
is one whole stanza, and from it we can kind of segment through this repetition of how can you tell what class I'm from, right? And the fact that it's just one stanza, we can say that it kind of reflects. Don't Can you say that this is like it's a rant,
It's a what?
a rant?
What's that?
You don't know what a rant is? Like,
No.
when you're like when you have a really bad day and you just go to your friend and you're like, so she did this and she did that and then this is what happened and this is what happened. You're just letting it all out,
Oh,
right? We could say
the
that.
first time I've ever heard what a rant is.
Oh wow. I mean, I would know. I do it every day. So um so you could say that she said it all out in one breath in complete anger, or it was perhaps a rant or an argument, and about about living in a classist society.
Therefore, bro, it's crazy, the way people say well mate in a good way, like, like they're trying to say, like, okay, well mate, see you tomorrow, like in a good way. But then she's like, well mate, a cleaner is my mother, a doctor is my brother, bread pudding is what Nelly, and my stomach is my belly, and I'm part of the class where I come from. It's like she's absolutely like, I don't know, like she's finishing the other person off. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. um I would say the purpose of her using the word mate was actually to show that she is from a lower class society and she doesn't care. She is going to use this word because, like I told you, these words, me, mate, half-eaten words in English are all used by lower class people in Britain. And I'm telling you because I've seen it.
Yeah.
So I know that and because I've studied it in sociology, because in sociology the focus is on British education, and then and in the education chapter it's all about how they use this language and why they use it. So there's like a lot of history behind it, and I'll give you a very brief version of it.
Yeah.
So this is one stanza. You could say it's a rant or an argument of why this entire um thing is like she's saying it all out in one breath. So one stanza could be a representation of her frustration and her anger.
What, in one breath? How can you
I
tell a
mean,
class I'm from? I can tell partially like and then all in my mouth, thumb, my nose, and red, and all scarf that mentioned, and how close. Why do you say, oh my God, I'm already out of breath?
but look, when you're really angry, you speak really fast.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
know, I
you
know.
could, I mean, you would be breathing, but you would be speaking really fast without the pause because you're
Yeah,
angry. That's who I am. Okay. So,
yeah,
and then I want you to please focus on the contrasting language, especially the fact that, that the toil and oil one, okay?
yeah,
Where, there's pretty moisturized hands versus hands of a laborer, okay? And then I think you're smart enough to identify the simile like a sour plum and
yeah,
metaphor and
yeah,
all that, right? So there's that. So I think this is it. I told you we won't be able to cover the entire one poem in 15 minutes. I took an entire hour to do this because poetry
yeah, it's
is,
fine.
it's well detailed. Okay, so I'll send you this doc, and
Please do.
yeah, that's it. And there's 7 messages from Nergis. She seems a little angry.